Welcome to The Explainer. I am so thrilled to have you here today because we're going to do something absolutely incredible. We're decoding May's best science images, literally spanning from the massive scale of the cosmos all the way down to the microscopic. Our goal? We're going to transform pure visual wonder into deep, structured understanding. You know, a really great photograph can just take your breath away, right? But the science hiding behind that photograph, well, that can completely shift your entire perspective on the universe. So we're going to explore the profound stories these images are trying to tell us.
Okay, let's dive into this. What do a Martian helicopter, glowing gel, and a quarantined cruise ship have in common? At first glance, absolutely nothing. I mean, they sound like the setup to a weird sci-fi movie. But in the real world of scientific discovery, they actually share a profound connection. They show us that every beautiful, weird, or even scary phenomenon hides a fascinating, incredibly complex scientific story that's just waiting to be unpacked. And today, we are going to unpack all of them.
Section 1. Wonders of the Cosmos, Framing the Universe.
Picture this. You're standing completely alone in the dark under the vastness of the night sky. The photographer Alvin Wu managed to capture that exact awe-inspiring feeling in New Zealand. He used this surreal fisheye perspective where our own Milky Way galaxy is entirely enclosed by a vibrant field of bluing lupines. It's just a breathtaking contrast, isn't it? We have the immediate, tangible beauty of earthly nature, flowers you could literally reach out and touch, acting as a frame for the unfathomable depths of our galaxy. Honestly, it is no surprise at all that this placed in the top 25 of the 9th Milky Way Photographer of the Year contest. It grounds the infinite cosmos right here in our own backyard.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it totally challenges our perception of time and space. To celebrate its 36th birthday, the Hubble Space Telescope revisited the Trifid Nebula. When we look at the image Hubble took back in 1997, compared to the one taken today, side by side, you can see subtle but undeniable changes in that cloud of gas and dust. Actually, scratch that. It's not just dust. Astronomers specifically spotted the expansion of a jet of plasma being periodically ejected by a star that is literally still forming right now.
To really wrap your head around what we're looking at, you need this number, 5,000. This stellar nursery is 1,500 parsecs, or 5,000 light-years away from us. Think about that. When we think of objects of astronomical size, we usually think of them as totally static, right? Like unchanging over thousands of human lifetimes. But this comparison proves that even on a massive galactic scale, the universe is incredibly dynamic. We're literally watching stellar evolution happen right before our eyes, visible over just a few short decades.
Section 2. Preparing for Martian Flight, the Next Generation of Explorers. Let's move to and see how this builds NASA's incredible trajectory. You might remember Ingenuity, right? That amazing little helicopter that NASA operated from 2021 to 2024. It was hugely historic, the very first aircraft of any kind to fly on another celestial body. But it was just a pioneer. It could only carry really simple sensors and cameras. Well, right now, engineers at NASA's Jet Propulsion Lab down in Pasadena are using those lessons to design the next generation of Martian helicopters. We're talking about much larger craft that can carry heavy scientific instruments, fly for extended periods, and in the future actually serve as aerial support for the very first human astronauts stepping foot on Mars.
But here's the catch. Flying on Mars isn't remotely like flying on Earth because the atmosphere is incredibly thin. To test these new designs, engineers use a special replication chamber that perfectly mimics Martian conditions. And inside that chamber, these new helicopter blades have to spin at an astonishing 240 meters per second. Let that sink in. That is actually faster than the speed of sound on Mars. It's basically the ultimate off-roading engineering challenge. We are pushing the absolute limits of aerodynamics just to catch a lift in the Martian sky.
Section 3. Glowing Microscopic Life, Engineering Nature's Light.
All right, shifting gears entirely. Meet Pyrocystis lunula. It's a single-celled marine organism known as a dinoflagellate. Out in the wild, this tiny creature is bioluminescent, meaning it produces its own light. But naturally, it only does so in very brief flashes when it gets disturbed. Well, enter the bioengineers at the University of Colorado Boulder. They have miraculously managed to coax these tiny organisms into glowing continuously. They do this by exposing them to specific chemical stimuli, like slight changes in acidity. So they've essentially taken nature's tiny flashbulb and turned it into a steady, glowing gel.
So, why does engineering a glowing gel matter to us? Because harnessing biological light could completely revolutionize our tech. Imagine the practical applications here. Battery-free gadgets that rely entirely on organic bioluminescence for their displays. Or think about undersea robots navigating the pitch-black depths of the ocean, using a continuous biological glow to light their way without draining any precious electrical power. We are essentially learning to collaborate with microscopic life to engineer the future. It's a real game changer.
Section 4. Beautiful but deadly discoveries. Hiding in plain sight.
Biologists recently discovered a brand new species of box jellyfish at Sentosa Island, which happens to be one of Singapore's prime tourist destinations. They named it Chironex blakangmati. And fun, or maybe not so fun fact, the island's historical name, Pulau Blakangmati, literally translates to Island of Death Behind. And this brilliantly illustrates how tricky nature can be. This new tourist spot's discovery bears a striking, almost identical resemblance to Chironex yamaguchi, which is its highly venomous and often deadly cousin. It is only through really rigorous anatomical and genetic analyses that scientists can even tell them apart. It's a stark reminder that some of nature's most dangerous creatures are just hiding in plain sight, right where we swim and play.
And speaking of hidden dangers, we have to talk about this terrifying, ongoing event. Back in early May, passengers embarked on what was supposed to be a dream vacation aboard the cruise ship MV Hondias. But by May 11th, when the final passengers disembarked in Tenerife, Spain, the journey had turned into an absolute nightmare. A rare hantavirus outbreak swept through the ship, leaving 3 travelers dead and at least 8 more infected. Today, many of the survivors are still trapped in strict isolation, anxiously monitoring their own bodies for any symptoms.
The reason for that ongoing, stressful isolation comes down to this terrifying number, 40. Hantavirus is rare and pretty poorly understood by the general public, but research suggests it could have an incubation period of up to 40 days. That means you could be exposed to this pathogen, fly home, unpack your bags, and go about your normal life for over a month before you even get a fever. It is a chilling example of just how silent and patient biological threats can be in our highly interconnected world.
Section 5. Our changing planet, the macro-environmental scale.
In early May, a truly massive iceberg became stranded near Pouch Cove down in Canada. Now, to the residents of Newfoundland, spotting mountains of ice in the spring is a pretty regular occurrence. But if we break down the mechanics of why this happens, a much bigger picture emerges. As global temperatures rise, especially up in the Arctic, massive icebergs are calving, meaning they are breaking off from the glaciers on Greenland's west coast. Deep southward ocean currents then grab these frozen giants and drag them thousands of miles past Newfoundland. This creates a phenomenon known as Iceberg Alley, which draws tourists from all over the place. But what gets presented as a beautiful local springtime spectacle is, in reality, a direct visual symptom of a rapidly warming global climate.
Our actions leave a permanent signature on the planet. Consider the absolute tragedy of the Betsaboka River estuary in Madagascar. This isn't just some natural phenomenon. It's a complex environmental disaster born directly from human industry. So the crucial point is tracing how this happens. It starts with nearly a century of aggressive logging in Madagascar's rainforests and coastal mangroves. Without the deep root systems of those trees to hold the earth together, severe erosion takes over the riverbanks. Then, when the heavy tropical rains come, the exposed iron-rich topsoil literally bleeds into the waterways. The end result? The estuary turns a vivid, alarming red, heavily clogged with the sediment of a dying forest. The river is quite literally bleeding out the island's fertile soil right into the sea.
Wow, we have covered some incredible ground today. From the majestic expansion of the Trifid Nebula 5,000 light-years away, to the bioengineering of microscopic glowing cells, all the way to a bleeding river in Madagascar serving as a glaring warning of our environmental impact. It paints a picture of a universe that is never, ever still. So, I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. Whether we're looking up at the stars or down at our own rapidly changing planet, are we truly prepared to navigate a universe that is in a constant, beautiful, and sometimes very dangerous state of flux? The science tells us the universe is changing every single second. The real question is, how will we change with it? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep your curiosity alive, and I will see you next time.